That's my update. We're still building. We're still trying to build a website. So, like Bryce mentioned, he's part of my team. He's helping us with the front end. Tomorrow we're going to be having some other meetings. So for me, I'm still trying to refactor a lot of stuff. Elizabeth is trying to see how we can incorporate machine learning into our project. So we have a look at that tomorrow. So the discussions are still going on, and the work is still going on. A lot to cover, a lot to do.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you guys are on the right direction. See, end of the day, I wanted you to think like this, and you're thinking, and I'm happy. That's my goal, right? Thanks a lot for that. So the second team, Mickey, Mukesh, you guys joined. Do you want to give an update? What's going on with your project ideas?
Okay, so what happened is we were supposed to meet this week, but apparently Mickey's team has very strict times, and the only time they were able to meet was on Monday. But Darren's has work at the time when they're going to meet, so we weren't able to meet each other the last week.
Okay, okay. So I'm hoping that you guys will have some update for us next week. Any other comments or any other inputs before we learn a couple of new topics today?
Yeah, I have some comments. Bryce and I were talking earlier yesterday, I guess. Yes, yesterday. And I don't know if you could point us in a direction where we could get maybe. I've been doing some research, but not gotten it. So the direction is maybe where we could get maybe organizations APIs for students, maybe government APIs, or things that can help us in our projects to add, because kind of finding some difficulties. But we're going to also talk through this tomorrow too.
APIs. Okay.
It's like student information, university information, and all those.
Personal information, maybe not. You will get it. But there was I'm forgetting the name, Nikki. There was APIs. You know, Brampton allows us APIs. One second.
You can access their APIs.
Just looking at it. If not, I will. What was that called? Anyone remembers? We used to go to this event. Okay, let me think through this. And now there are a lot of APIs that are available. That's for sure. I'm just thinking. You know, let me think of this. Business session, Testoper product session, 18th March. Let me see. Just give me a second. In one of the session, if I remember, I also kind of shared that. Oops. Something is stuck here. Bear with me.
Maybe we can circle back to that later.
Yeah, we can. You know, my system is kind of hung. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. I remember that. Why is it getting stuck? Just give me a second. No. Okay, I'll look through that. I know that there were some last try. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, I got to search it. I don't want to waste every one of your time. Got to search it. I know there are some places that you can actually go and get the APIs. You want any API, right? So there's a lot of data and APIs are available where you can get number of informations about the city, Brampton City as an example, and build some use cases around that. I'll look into that for you, Greg. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Right. So let's quickly go. I have a hard stop at 6:40 for a customer meeting, but let me let me quickly go through this. I want to kind of close our second chapter today. Quick, as I always do, first 2-3 minutes, quick refresher, right? So we learned about Testoper's ecosystem, and there are like four topics we wanted to really do as a part of this program. The first topic is learn the foundational elements that are required for you to become an innovator, intrapreneur, and entrepreneur. So we learned from three angles, right? One is we learned from the tools that are available out there in the social media, that's skills and tools and frameworks. And we learned some skills about as a person, as an individual, what abilities and attributes that we need to develop ourselves, so we are able to really form the team and run like a true entrepreneur and the owner of a company, right? It's very important to understand few definitions. So we went through that. And the second thing is, once we are done with the people and personal abilities and attributes, second thing is you need to understand the external abilities and attributes, right? What are the industries out there? How to think about competition? How do you understand about customer needs? Understanding the finance? How do you strategic plan? So these are all the different things that we learn. So both internal attributes as well as the external attributes. Those were our goal to learn in the foundational elements. And we went through that and we learned them, right? I'm just browsing through so you can kind of understand that. We learned about leadership, we learned about teaming, because these were all very important for you guys to start building the team. Decision making, finance basics, we learned. Then we learned about different industries that are out there, competitions that are out there, and how do we really understand the customers, their needs and their voice of customer. What does it actually mean? Then we started understanding the difference between different types of markets and different market segments that are out there, and how do you actually forecast when you are trying to become an entrepreneur, to create the pitch deck. What are the different things that you need to do around that? How do you plan strategically? What are the different steps required for you to plan strategically? So all those things that we learned, which was very important for you to set yourself as a set foundation for you, right? And then the second thing is product and its life cycle. This is the second topic that we wanted to learn here. I know that you talked about getting into the product management field, right? Alan, this is what it's all about. The second chapter, learning about the products. How does the product evolve from different life cycle, end-to-end life cycle, and we went through every single life cycle to learn about what happens in every single life cycle, starting from the concept phase, what happens in the concept phase, what happens in the feasibility phase, what happens in the product definition phase, and how do you manage the requirements in the product definition phase. And then we started learning about what is business plan, and we looked through some of the formats of the business plan. What are all the different things that included in the business plan? And if you try to connect that back to all the personal and personal attributes and external attributes, you would actually learn them together. Then we talked about how the marketing and go-to-market plan, right? And then we those are the side things. But then from the life cycle point of view, we learned about the first life cycle with this product introduction phase, right? So which includes concept, feasibility, definition, and then we moved into the product development phase, right? So which basically has actual product development as well as the launch. So this is what we talked about yesterday: product development and product launch. And then today, what we are going to talk about is the two things that is a missing piece that kind of completes this whole chapter, right? So if you go back to this diagram, right? If you go back to this diagram, so we kind of covered new product planning, that is concept, feasibility, and definition. And then we talked about new product introduction, development, and launch. We talked about it. And today, what we are going to talk about is post-launch at a very high level, right? Of course, like I mentioned, the details are many. You can just spend 3 years only researching post-launch, or maybe 30 years you can researching only post-launch and learning about post-launch, right? But what I'm trying to give you is what you need to know as an entrepreneur, big picture. You can always have an employees to get into the details and do things for you. So in this post-launch management, there's one missing piece that I did not cover, is that in the whole life cycle, little bit about sales, right? So we talked about marketing, customer, market segments, technology, tools and frameworks. We talked about everything. There's one piece that I did not talk to you about, is sales. So What I'm going to cover today in next 10 minutes to 15 minutes max is that what is post-launch management, and little bit couple of slides about sales at a very high level, so that you are able to kind of relate to what I'm saying. These inputs might look very high level, but these are very powerful for you and will help you in a longer run. Okay. So let me go to the slide, what I wanted to really talk today. So post-launch product management. Now, during the product introduction phase, you developed and you launched the product. That's really good. And during the definition phase, you came up with concept, feasibility, and all those things you did. And you did a project management. You built the project, you build the product, you launch the product, and the product is in the market, and customers are starting to use it. So what does it mean at a very high level? It actually means that once it is launched, you got to continue the journey. That is what it is all about. End of the day, making sure that the product that you have launched is in the market and consumed by the customers continuously, and there is no customer churn. People are not leaving your product and going to your competitors. That is the main goal of product launch management, post-launch product management, right? So you got to do whatever it takes to ensure the product is in the market and your customers are using it and they're not going to your competitors, and do whatever it takes again to go through the complete product management lifecycle to add additional features, additional areas that you wanted to address, additional business that you wanted to make, additional market segment you wanted to address, additional customers that you wanted to absorb. So all these things you need to start thinking to continue to keep the journey of the product, life of the product continuing in the market. That is what is the product management is all about. So if you think from the common sense point of view, it is not something you need to remember, right? If you think from the common sense point of view, what are all the things that you need to do? First thing is you did a business plan, you did the strategic planning, you did the marketing planning, you created product requirement documents, you created a lot of baseline that you wanted to follow, and also the targets that you wanted to achieve. Everything you have created during the last two phases. Now what you need to make sure is you are at every step in the way when the product is launched, you track to make sure whatever that you planned in your business plan, strategic plan, marketing plan is actually happening. And if it is not happening, why? If marketing is not doing well, why? If sales is not doing well, why? How do you act and adapt to make it happen based on the baseline that you have created? And if you realize that baseline is not really working in the new market because you created baseline 1 year ago, now the market has changed, you need to act and adapt your baseline to keep the journey of the product continuing in the customer hands, right? That's the most important thing. Audit the result of the launch and fulfilling the commitments that you created as a plan, and also fulfilling your commitments that you gave to your customers, and making sure you work with all the different cross-functional teams, marketing, sales, production, everything. As an example, customer orders it, but the production team is not able to produce number of units what customer ordered, and it gets delayed. Customer is going to go to the competitors, right? You got to make sure that's happening. And then maybe the production is not able to produce it because the raw material is not available in the market. Then so you need to find alternative raw material to do it, act and adapt the strategy and plan, which is going to increase the cost, reduce the margin. I mean, I can go on and on, right? But you've got to have that common sense of acting and adapting the plan that you have to take it forward. Running the business, very, very important. We learned about finance, right? So when you start a business, there's always going to be a negative cash flow, right? At some point, when you're going to get to the break even, and then you got to turn into the positive cash flow. All these things that you have planned in your strategy, in your business plan, you got to again track it and make sure that you're meeting the target. Financial tracking is very, very important. And ensuring whatever you plan to provide unforgettable customer experience, you continue to do. Otherwise, the whole plan is going to go down, right? Which is something that you don't want to happen. And then finally, right, you got to be brave enough, right? There is nothing permanent in this world. Even we are not permanent. We got to die at one day, right? So likewise, the product also at some point of time, it becomes obsolete. How much ever feature that you add, whatever that you do, at some point of time, it will become obsolete. Some other innovation will make it obsolete, no matter what. Take an example. There was a lot of taxi companies were there before. And even today, I mean, I need taxi to go to airport, right? But I can go Uber. The taxi business, whatever that you do, how much ever facilities you provide, right? It's going down. So at some point of time, whatever the product that you have will go down. You will reach a point that you will not be able to sustain the product, sustain the revenue versus the loss. And you as an entrepreneur, right, owner of the product, you got to make a decision. Enough is enough. I got to discontinue this product. These are all the important skills that you need to, these are all common sense, right? It's not something new that I'm saying, but you need to really play with your common sense and play with your experience, play with your adaptability mindset, play with your learning mindset, judgment mindset to continue the journey of the product in the customer hands. That's what is the post-launch management is all about. And now if you find out a customer requires an additional feature, you just don't go and add that feature. You go through again the complete life cycle that we talked about, analyzing the business case for that feature. If I add this feature, how many customers is going to buy? If it's going to be only one customer, is the customer willing to pay, cover the cost of this feature development and give profits for me? Then okay, I might do it. But if this customer is not going to cover and other customer is not going to use this feature, then as well I might not do it. So you got to go through again the concept, feasibility, definition phase to convince yourself throughout the journey that you're going to keep your products in the customer hands. Remember that, right? So that is what the post-launch product management is all about. That brings to the end of understanding a complete product evolution, starting from the idea all the way to the post-launch. And I'm pretty confident that you have a very good understanding of all that and all the processes that you go through to really make this complete cycle work for you in coming days and years in your career. So the last piece that I missed telling you guys, which I would take 5 minutes or so, is to really explain a little bit about sales. Okay, so we covered all the areas, right? The sales is the one area that we have not covered. So now what is the sales? What is sales? Why do we have sales team? To sell the product, as simple as that. They are the one who's going to go to the customer and get the check from the customer selling the product, as simple as that. Now here, what I wanted to really address is not helping you to understand how to sell, right? Sales is all about selling, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm trying to help you understand what are all the different types of sales personalities or in sales representatives have different types of personalities and different ways to sell the product. So if you know that, then you will know obviously how to sell the product, right? So I took a different angle a little bit. So I kind of categorized let's say you have a sales team and you have 5 people working in your sales team. I kind of categorize each one of that person into different category. So the first person in your sales team, he's a hard worker. So what does it actually mean? He's always willing to go extra mile. He doesn't give up easily, works day and night, and is self-motivated. You don't have to motivate him. Hard workers are always self-motivated, and they're very interested to hear the feedback and develop themselves. But these are all the simple attributes of the hard worker. So you can have a salesperson who's really hard worker and try to sell your product for you. And the second one is the challenger. So this person is a little bit different, right? He's not a hard worker, but he sees things differently than anyone else. And most importantly, he understands the customer business and he fights, debates with the customer and pushes the customer. He challenges the customer. That's why the name, the challenger. He thinks differently. He understands customer well. And in fact, he knows customer product, how he is going to use the product and how they are running their operations much better than customer itself. So that kind of a person is normally called as a challenger salesperson. And the third one is, you all know, relationship builder. What we do end of the day, we all build relationship, right, with friends, families, and we want it to be on good books on everyone. So we are very good to take all the bad things on us and scared to say no. So that's what the relationship builder is all about. He is a strong advocate because whatever customer says, he's like, yeah, right? And he gives lots of time to help others, always concerned about others, what they are going to say about them, always wanted to be in good books, gets along with everyone. This is a different kind of a personality. And there are sales guys who try to go and sell it in this way, build a relationship with the customers, and they try to sell your products. The fourth one is the lone wolf, right? So this is the guy. I mean, he does not hear you, even though you are his boss, right? He does what he thinks is right. There's a number of people are like that in this world, right? And he's very difficult to control. He doesn't listen. He doesn't understand. He thinks what he is doing is right. Everyone else in this world is wrong, right? So it's kind of self-assured. That's what it means, right? So you will find a sales guy like this. And then finally, a reactive problem solver. He always tries to go and solve problems in the customer. Whatever the problem customer has, he solves it. He's always behind solving the problem, making sure by solving the problem, he gets into the good books. But he's not a relationship builder, right? Relationship builder is always, yes guy, right? Reactive problem solver need not have to be an yes guy. He can be a no guy, but at the same time, right? He's always tried to solve problems of all the customers, and he's very detailed, hands-on, right? I mean, even if the sales guy is required to get into a product and do coding and fixing the bug, he does it. He's a problem solver. I mean, you would find these 5 types of salesperson in your organization whenever you recruit the sales. And these are all the 5 ways they go and sell. But what is important for you to understand, the message that I wanted to really give you is who can be successful in selling your products. This is very important, right? Because you got to, whether you are trying to do sales by yourself or whether you are going to recruit someone to do sales for you, among these 5 characteristics of individuals who are selling your product, who can be successful and who most successful and least successful. I mean, everyone will be successful, right? But who will be the most successful and least successful? That's the kind of message that I wanted to give here, right? Maybe I'll put a question here. Greg, what do you think in this 5, who will be the most successful salesperson?
For me, I think the most also with the relationship builder.
Okay.
Because he's building relationship and he's trying to maintain the relationship with the customer, trying to help customer. And at the end of the day, the customer really like him and we don't want to leave him.
And he always says yes to customer. You're okay with it? Like if customer goes towards the wrong direction, he says yes and he supports the customer. Do you think it is right?
That might be a drawback because, but at the end of the day, we are in the business for the client. So if he says yes to customer, then it comes to us and it's something we can do, and then we can do it. If not, we try to go back to the customer and explain. But if you ask me to pick one, I think I'll go with the relationship builder.
Yeah. Okay, got it. So from that point of view, it's not only relationship builder, right? You are trying to bring in some characteristics of the challenger there, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, good. So let me pick someone else. Let's see. Alan is new. Alan, what do you think? Who would be the successful salesperson here? You said you do sales.
Actually, I'm not on the sales side. I'm on the buying side. But in terms of a good salesperson, I would agree with Gregory in saying that the relationship builder, because that is like a huge trait for a salesperson to have, to be able to connect with people and build those relationships.
So because you are a buyer, I'm going to ask you this in a different way, right? I'm your very close friend and we have a great relationship. And I'm coming and selling you a product for $10 and the other person is coming and selling the product which is 10 times better than the product that I have and for $5. Which one you would choose?
I mean, the logical thing would be to choose um, the person that's selling it for less, but not because they're selling it for less, but it's because they're selling like a more quality product.
Exactly. So, see, I can spin and debate in multiple ways to make you guys realize one or other in this 5 characters is better in one or other situations and circumstances, right? So that's the bottom line. That's why I wanted to ask these 2 questions. But the research has shown, right? The most successful person having the characteristics of the challenger is the one, right? And then the least successful person is the one who's a relationship builder. The others come in between here and there. This is what the research says, right? So now what do I mean? Let me focus a little bit on challengers. See, challengers' attitude is not about, it's not like you're not building the relationship, right? Even in the challenger, you're actually building the relationship, but you're building the relationship that is credible. You are not a kind of follow your self instinct, and you're not difficult to control by customer or by the owner of the company. You are not a lone wolf. You are a challenger. You are not going to get your all the time as a reactive problem solver and don't spend time on selling, which is also bad. If you keep on solving customer problems, when you will have time to go and sell your product? It's very good, very bad for your company if you are an entrepreneur, the reactive problem solver. So he is not a reactive problem solver, challenger. He is not a lone wolf, challenger, right? He is not also a hard worker. Hard worker wears out, right? You got to be a smart worker, right? But at the same time, the challenger has to be like, able to, he has to be self-motivated. Some attributes of hard worker is required, but not all. But he's a relationship builder, but he's not the 100% relationship builder. Why I'm saying that is he challenges the customer. If customer is doing wrong, he helps customer to see the right things. Helps customer, develops the credibility, sees the world differently than anyone else. He's not a doer. He's not a sits in the passenger seat. He sits in the driver's seat. So the research says that challenger, the person who has a challenger personality is the one who is successful, not only when the market is good, but also when the market is bad. Take this. This is a very important point that I'm telling you. Anybody and everybody can sell when the market is good, people are buying. When the market is bad, when the people are not buying, then whoever is selling in that circumstance is the best seller. And what he would do, think about it, right? He would go to the customer, he would say, hey, how much you guys are, because he knows customer better than customer. Hey, he goes and says, hey, you are spending this $100 to do this, and I can help you to, reduce the spending by $80, right? And you keep $10, I keep $10. Boom. Even though customer don't have a money, he makes the sale because he finds the money that customer does not have and he takes it by helping customers because he knows the customer business better than customer. So the research says that the person who has a challenger attitude is the one who has really been the successful. He's the one who can easily take control of the customer conversation. This is the last slide for today. The idea of this slide is that you challenge the customer, but it has to be a constructive tension. So what does it mean? You as a challenger rep, you have to create a constructive tension where the customer is trying to involve with you, not walking out of the meeting. To help him understand from all dimensions of the sale. And he should teach. First of all, he should tailor for resonance, right? Making sure that he understands the customer context and he talks like he talks in customer language. And he teaches the customer. And he reframes the customer mind. So when he talks to the customer, when you go to the customer, he'll always say, hey, guy, sales guy, I have been doing this for 20 years, okay? You don't teach me. He's going to say that to you. But how you are going to constructively create a dialogue to help him understand, yes, you're doing this for 20 years. You're doing awesome, really good. And you have made profitability. to grow your company by 30% every year. But what I'm going to, and these are all the money that you have spent to generate the profitability for 30 years, and I'm going to reduce that money by 70%. Your profitability is going to increase by 40%. What do you think? And I'm just saying it in a very high level. But you got to really understand the customer product to really go on that direction. So you teach for differentiation. You understand that there is going to be a constructive tension, but you got to tailor your pitch, teach for differentiation, make them to see things differently. And then when they start seeing things differently, that's what it's called as wow factor. You might have heard this, right? So customer says, wow, yes, I did not think about it at all. Thank you for letting me know. That's the wow factor, right? So once you are able to tailor for resonance and teach for differentiation, you get to that wow factor. Once you get to that wow factor, then you take control. Hey, $20 I'm saving you. $10 is for you, $10 is for me. So when you have this attribute, sometimes remember, saying no is better than saying yes. Right? That's what the challenger sales is all about. If you have that attribute, if you have that skills, you can be very successful, not only when the market is available to sell and people are buying, but also when the market is not available to sell, but you still will make money for you, make money for company. So that's what I wanted to kind of give you, because I've never thought about you guys on sales. So I just wanted to give you the perspective. So when you are an innovator, when you are an entrepreneur, when you are a product manager, when you are a business owner, when you are an entrepreneur, remember this. It is always, it is okay to challenge the customer. It is okay to help challenging the customer, to make them to see the different view than what they have, even though they are stuck to that. But of course, sometimes what happens is some people, they don't accept the change, and that person will basically say, you know what, I say, he knows that you're saying it right, but he say, hey, no, I don't want to take it. But you can win over him if you have the attribute of challenger sales. And that's where a little bit of relationship and combinations, smart work comes into the picture to change his mindset. But you will do it. The secret sauce here is that you understand the customer business better than the customer, but customer does not realize that you are better than the customer. So you don't have the ego coming in there, but still you achieve what you wanted to achieve. And push customer as much as possible once you take the control after the wow factor. So this is what I wanted to kind of touch bases, right? So that basically brings to the end of our third chapter. Now, second chapter. Now the third chapter is all about the missing pieces. You already kind of 80% you are covered with a lot of things that an entrepreneur should know, from the finance to the marketing plan to the sales plan to product plan to strategy plan to customer segments to the pitch plan to the financials. You know 80% of it already. There's a couple of things that you don't know, right? 2 or 3 things, which is what we are going to learn in next 2 to 3 sessions. And then after that, I will give you guys time, a month, right, of 4 weeks for you guys to put together something and come back and present and close the session, right? So that's the way that we are going to do it. So having said that, I will stop here. As I told you, 6:45, I have a hard stop. Any questions? Did you guys learn something today? Yes, no?
Yep. The challenge has a way to go.
Yeah. You know, all
Yes,
these
thank
are
you.
the words you will remember for lifelong, right? When you remember this, you will remember Khader for sure. Trust me. Right. So all these things, small things only I taught you, but all these things will come in handy. Today you might be a software developer. Tomorrow you might manage a sales team. Day after tomorrow you manage. But all these small things that you learn from me will serve as a base foundation for you to further evolve and develop your skills. Thank you for telling me that you learned something for today. With that, I wanted to give you all back 15 minutes of your time. Alan, feel free to join. There is a chat here. Before you exit, copy whatever is there in the chat so that you can join our groups and teams if you're interested to continue to learn from us. And there are a lot of other programs that we do. You can always look at the Eventbrite. Guys, look at Eventbrite. I have one big program coming, which is 5G upskilling, skill up and innovate up 5G decoding, skill up and innovate up. That's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to build a workforce who understands the connectivity, and 5G technology is something that I'm launching in September 18th. Look at it. It's called as a 5G for Connected Industries and Automation Meetup. I kindly request every one of you to register it by today so that I can see all 10 of you registered today. I'll be happy. And outside of that, see you all tomorrow's session, Kubernetes and Kubernetes session that's going to be taught. I think Docker is covered. Next session is going to be Kubernetes. You would have already received the message from me. So those who are attending tomorrow, I will see you guys tomorrow. Otherwise, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your evening. Talk to you all soon in our next week Friday meeting.
Thanks, Kada. Bye-bye. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Kadir.
Thank you.
Thank you.